Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of FaB GaB, which is a Beatles talk show. I'm joined by my co host, Matthew Street.
Hello,
Hello.
Joe. Great to
Hi.
be here.
Okay. And also, we have a couple of guests. These are
Yes.
two of my co hosts from a show I do also called Talk More Talk, solo Beatles video cast. And first up, I want to introduce Kit O'Toole. Hello, Kit.
Hi, Joe. Great to be back.
And one of the reasons that I know she would like to do this show, I think, is because she wrote a book among a few, and I have it here: "Songs We Were Singing: Guided Tours Through the Beatles' Lesser Known Tracks." And that's kind of like what we're talking about here. Leaves us as a little bookmark here, Kiddo Tool. And she's written some other books, such as Michael Jackson, FAQ, uh, All That's Left to Know About the King of Pop, and also Fandom and the Beatles. And I think it has another title, The Act You've Known for All These Years, underneath there, or
You
something
hmm
like
got it.
that.
You got it.
And then we have the, as of yet, non author, but yet nevertheless very, very active on YouTube and other places for a podcast called Two Legs McCartney
Mm.
stuff. It's Tom Hunyadi. Hello, Tom.
Hey, Joe, Matt, Kit. It's
Hey, Tom,
great
Kit,
to
great to
be.
have you.
Yeah, great to see you guys again. Joe and Kit. It was just like a couple hours ago we were chatting, wasn't it?
I know.
Yeah, doing talk more
Long,
talk. Don't
So,
forget,
long time
yes.
no see.
Yeah.
talk more talk. I don't know. I'm thinking like, wow. All I know is on my mind, I'm just thinking about Get Back. That's going to
Mm.
be coming out. So I was like,
Mhm.
do I really want to do this? Well, I want to talk about Get Back. That's what's on the brain.
Mm.
But I thought we'd do a show, which I didn't know exactly what to call it, whether it's underrated Beatles songs or whether it's songs that get maligned in some cases, or just maybe not necessarily maligned, but just go under the radar of
Mm.
most fans, and people don't really think much of them. And I thought we'd all pick three songs that fit the bill, and it'll go around. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe I'm going to try to go around, but I don't really want to start with myself.
I think I
So
think I think one of our special guests should go first.
Nah.
one of our special guests should go first. All right, let's. I'm going to try to do it the right way. I want to be able to look at it the way I've seen it, so I can do it.
Mm.
I guess
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
counterclockwise. Tom, I'll start with you then. What's the
Absolutely.
first song you'd have down?
My first song that I would have down is this. Whether or not people don't care for it, or if it's underappreciated, whatever you want to way you want to look at it, and I absolutely adore the song, and it's "Dig a Pony" from Let It
Oh.
Be, and it's obviously hopefully we're gonna see it here in a couple days. Hopefully we'll see it a bunch of times on the rooftop and and Twickenham and all that stuff. I just adore the song, and mainly the reason why I like the song is the play on words. I like, there's a lot of nonsensical lyrics on here, I think, but I think that's what part that I really like about it. When you see the, well, you can penetrate, or you can radiate, and you can imitate. That's the stuff, and syndicate. That's the stuff I really find very cool about this. And even John has said that he really likes this as like something like of a poetry. And I really dig that. I mean, this is one of the fascinating things. When I was first getting into the Beatles and I first listened to Let It Be, I really adored the song. And then on top of that, the part that I really love is the all everything is, I told you so, all I want is you, everything has got to be just like you want it to. I mean, that's kind of like my favorite part, because he's just
Yeah.
really yelling that out, and I think it's a really good rock number, and it just moves along nicely, and I really dig it. And I think people should pay a little more attention to this, but
Uh, uh,
I can see how people can
mm,
dislike the song as well.
right. And I'm sure after this coming weekend, it's going to be probably appreciated a lot more.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, it's never been one of my favorite songs. Sometimes
Mm.
I one of the people that put it like lower tier. But
Right.
still, it's funny though. I don't really dislike any Beatles song, and I still would never skip it. Still enjoy it enough, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe people don't. Some people don't like the nonsense lyrics, but
Right.
that's fine. There's other songs that have nonsense lyrics. I'm the Walrus says,
Yeah.
"Come together." So
Well,
anybody
and
else?
it's a perfect example of how John Lennon loved to play with language. I
Right.
mean,
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
absolutely adored that, and this is just a perfect example of it. He's having a great time with rhymes. I see, Mark Zutkoff talks about "Dig a Pony" as some very clever internal rhymes.
Right.
Absolutely,
Yep.
John lived for this stuff.
Mm,
Hmm. Hmm. All
absolutely.
righty.
And it's a heck of a rock song too.
It is a great
It
rock song,
is.
and I kind of like it better with that initial, "All I Want Is You" bit,
Yeah.
at the beginning, but they cut it. So
All right. Now let's go over to Kit. Kit, what's your first pick?
Okay, well, let me preface this by saying all my picks today range from 63 to 65. I
Uh,
decided to do earlier stuff because we've been talking so much about the later stuff, and we're going to be talking a lot about that this coming week.
mm.
So I decided to go with some earlier stuff just to be different. So my first pick is There's a Place
Ah.
from 63.
Mhm.
I've always had a soft spot for this song. And I also think it is such an early sign of how the Beatles would distinguish themselves from all the other pop rock bands of the time. Because first of all, I mean the harmonies are so tight on it. I mean, with
mm,
John and Paul, I mean, almost like Everly Brothers kind of stuff. But the lyrics are just fascinating. A little bit. I mean, predates Beach Boys in My Room a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's but
Yeah.
it's the same thing though. It's saying there's a place where it's in my mind. It's escapism in my mind. I mean, that's pretty high level stuff for a pop song of the time. And of course you've got that great harmonica in it.
Yeah.
It just has such a great sound to it. And to me, if I'd been around in 63 and I had heard this, I would have thought, wow, this is a different kind of group.
mm.
I mean, from the lyrics to the arrangement to the harmonies, it just stands out. It's always been a
It's
favorite of mine.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
definitely not your typical Beatlemania song. I
No.
don't think.
Exactly. More
No.
sophisticated.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm glad Kit brought up the lyrics because they're so meaningful and so deep for that
Right.
time period when you think about it. I mean, it's really touching upon depression a little bit or being down in the
Mm,
dumps and
Right.
mm,
and how you deal with that as a young person at that time.
Yeah.
Whether it's
right.
you retreat into yourself to get over something that's bringing you down or whatever. But that's a great point, Kit, about the lyrics. They're very deep.
Yeah, that's one of John's earliest that type of song, really, with
Yep.
the Beatles. So,
Absolutely. So not bad for an early composition.
Mm.
Right.
okay. Oh yeah, I remember this too. One of the last Beatle tracks able to be located in the mid '70s.
Mm.
It's it's a little harder to get it. I
Yeah,
This
remember.
because it wasn't
this
on the early Beatles when we were
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. This would
Mhm.
have been a really good track to be in a John Lennon lyrics book and to hear what he had to, say about the
Yeah,
song.
good point. Yeah.
And by the way, all the songs I picked, in researching them, of course, in later interviews, John was like, "These all were awful."
Right.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I
yeah.
still say John. John. I say, an artist is always his own
The
harshest
worst
critic.
critic. Yeah.
A lot of time,
Mhm.
and also he didn't have enough time to really
Yeah,
get beyond a lot of that.
exactly.
He was getting there, but I wonder what he would be thinking today about a lot of this.
Yeah,
Instead of
Mm.
if he was around. But
Hmm.
exactly.
all right, that was cool. Okay, Matt, how about you? What's your
Okay,
first?
all right. I was worried. I thought our two guests were going to pick this one because this one has always been one of those songs for me that people either love it or they hate it. And I absolutely love and adore this song. To me, before I give it away, I think it's one of the most epic Beatles tracks ever. It's long, it's early psych rock, whatever you want to call it. It's All Too Much by George
Ah,
Harrison from
right.
Yellow Submarine. I had to pick this one because there's so much going on in this song between the brass parts, which are
Right.
excellent. I think it's just two trumpets or something on the track, but the brass mixed in with those stinging guitars throughout the whole song. Paul's bass is just shines, if you really just focus in on what he's playing on the bass, is amazing. Ringo's pounding out the beat, and it's just such a majestic song. It's one of those songs that whenever I would see the Yellow Submarine movie, and that song is right at the end when everything's ending, and it's the big bombast at the end of the movie. And that song just, I don't know, emotionally, it's always struck me. It's always left me feeling good after I heard it. And but I always feel that it's one of those 50-50 songs. Like half the Beatles fans go, yeah, right on, it's a great track. And then you get some fans, though, that go, nah, don't like it, it stinks, you know. So I, in my mind, it's a little bit underappreciated by that camp, you know, the people that put it down. But I love it. I don't know what you guys think of it.
Well, I've always had that for many years, up to recently even. When people would say to me, what's your, if such a thing applies, worst Beatles song, you know, other than Revolution 9, other than Wild Honey Pie and those kinds of things, I would always pick that. And it's not the case anymore, I'm happy to say. I've come to appreciate it in recent.
Just hearing it over and over again, you find it came around.
I mean, I appreciate it for because you know, at first I didn't like that it was kind of all over the place kind of thing, you know. But now that's kind of what I like about it, what I appreciate about it.
Yes,
you know, and I never really hated it or anything, you know, but it was never a favorite up until only fairly recently. So I went around on that.
Yeah, I have never not ever liked this song. I've always enjoyed this track from the moment I heard it to even now. Like I said, I love the fact that there's a lot going on. I love the feedback at the start. I love the horns going, you know, the crazy horns. I love the is that an organ maybe, or you know, going on as well. Yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, a lot going on, and the lyrics I think are really good as well. I mean, George is really coming in as a lyricist at this point as well.
Right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it took me a while to appreciate it. The first time I heard it, it just sounded so like chaotic to me. That, you know, I mean, it just took me a while to appreciate it. But now, now I've grown to appreciate it. And it's funny that you mentioned this song. Is this the other day I was listening to the Beatles channel on Sirius XM, and I heard a cover by Journey of that. Song.
That's on one of their real early albums.
Yeah,
way back.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, and it kind of made me appreciate that a bit more. Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, it made me appreciate it a little bit more actually. You know, because it was pretty good.
Yeah.
People are asking, what does George say at the beginning? And whenever stuff like that happens, people say, oh, he's saying this, he's saying that. People have ideas what to say. Now, people say like to your mother or sue your mother and that kind of thing.
And some people think it's John, right? Or
John. I meant
there's a debate whether it's John or George. I don't know.
This person said George. It is John. It's John. It sounds like at the beginning. Somebody Mark wrote down it's George. But whatever. Everybody's. I think it's John. But anyway, now I remember reading at some point what it actually was, and I think it was like to somebody, like a specific person, but I don't remember who.
Yeah,
I
don't recall.
It's almost unrecognizable, almost like kind of like, you know, piss off cake at the beginning of Too Many People or whatever he said. It sounds like piece of cake, piss off. I mean, what is, you know, what is it? Yeah.
A lot of people are picking Not a Second Time, which I absolutely love. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself with anybody. I didn't pick Not a Second Time. Because I did notice that it was that underappreciated by people, but maybe other people's mileage may vary. All right.
Yeah.
So, let's stick with George. The first song that I'm going to mention is I'm curious what you three think. Also, is a George song that I think is really either underrated or just forgotten and never talked about much. And you know, Too Much is also in it. You know, it's all too much. Well, now we have You Like Me Too Much.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not a standout track. You know, I'm not saying it's great or anything. I love the piano, the intro, Steinway that George Martin is playing along with Paul, I think, and then later you have Electric Piano by John. And I think it's the same thing that he played on the night before, same organ. But I think that's what I like about it the most. I think I like all of that keyboard playing on there. The lyrics, I mean, a lot of Beatles songs have simple lyrics. That in itself doesn't take away. But this particular song, you know, you like me too much and I like you. I really do. You know, that kind of thing. It's kind of basic. Maybe that's why a lot of people don't don't love it, but you know, I just appreciate it. I think more than most, and it doesn't
Right.
mean that I think it's the greatest
I
thing
might
since
be
sliced
wrong, but I
bread.
think it was also written around the time of that unreleased track, "You Know What to Do." It's
You-
similar in the lyrical content of
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
very simple, basic love song kind of thing. But I think George was just coming off of uh, I'm brain cramp here with the Beatles. "Don't Bother Me," which was his first written
Right.
track on a Beatles album. I think the one you picked, Joe, wasn't it like the second song he ever wrote that he had on a Beatles album? Or am I off on that?
Which one?
"You Like Me Too Much."
Too much.
I don't know if it's is it the second?
I know he's saying "I'm happy just to dance
Well,
with
what
you on
about
a
I
hard
Need
day's
You?
night," but
I
he
don't
didn't.
know where I Need
I
You.
Need You came out
It
on the
just
help.
That's
Yeah,
help.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, but so's You Like Me Too Much.
no, but I mean, in the U.S., though, we got it on Beatles 6, which was a few months before Health, a couple of months
okay.
before Help.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I always felt it was only like his second song that he got credit for on a Beatles album, but I could be off on that.
Yeah.
Don't know.
The part I was always a big fan of. I don't know why, but "You'll Never Leave Me," and you know it's true. I just always that part has always struck me as, is he
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to seek ownership of this person? Or is he, But
Yeah.
I
can't-
like that part.
Yeah.
I've always liked the track. I've always liked this part. So.
Yeah, well, that's my first one.
Mhm.
So let's go on to the second, and we'll start with you again, Tom. What's your second?
Okay. Nice second as I get the. Sticking with George again. This was too bad that we are going to George on this. But maybe it's because it was a B-side of Ballad and John and Yoko, and my second
yeah.
is Old Brown Shoe, which
Great
I don't hear
Ah.
anybody talk about.
True.
At all, and and I don't know if people like the song or hate the song because I don't see anybody ever talking about.
I think
the
because
song.
it's a B side more than anything.
Yeah,
Maybe that's it.
more than likely. But I think musically it's really cool.
Oh, the bass is
The
fantastic.
bass
Yeah.
is fantastic. I think George is. I mean, I've always loved. When I grow up, I'll be a singer and wear rings on every finger. I thought
Yeah,
that
that's
this
the whole
is
bit.
very clever. But lyrically, I think this is some really good stuff from George. And this is again another track that you just don't hear
And
anybody talk about.
I'll never say it's another "Hey Bulldog," but
Right.
it's up there. It's one of those
Right.
great rock and roll tracks from that
Again,
68,
and-
69 period that's just
and
fantastic.
a rocker in a way that you'd never heard them kind of do before. I mean, this is a
Right.
completely different kind of rocker in a way, and it's just something completely different.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, great, as you said, great vocals from George,
Yeah.
and just a lot of fun.
Mhm.
It's really and yes, as Mark says, musically it rocks. That's a good way to
Right.
summarize it. Exactly.
I think this was started in February '69, so the month after the
Mhm.
whole winter of our discontent, if you will.
Mhm.
Yeah, you should have called it something other than Old Brown Shoe.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
I think on some of the Let It Be bootlegs I have, there is a couple of early versions of him trying to work it out during those
Right.
sessions. So you're right. Right after that, they completed it.
Yeah.
Maybe call it "Baby, I'm in Love with You."
But see, George, his sense of humor. I mean, Old Brown Shoe kind of
Right.
fits in with a sense of
Yeah,
humor, so I
sure.
could see why he
Mm.
did that.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you have, Kit, for your second?
Second one, I mean, I think this song has grown a lot in appreciation over time, but still doesn't get the love I think it deserves. "I'll Be Back." I
Oh,
love
I love that song.
love it.
Right.
Love it. I mean, the chord changes in this are just beautiful. The harmonies are gorgeous. And this is another, I think, early indicator of where they were going to go. This was, of course, on a Hard Day's Night. And, again, this is just an example of them breaking the pop mold. That this just sounds so sophisticated and moody. With John, singing about this tortured relationship he's in, that he knows that she's going to break his heart, and he'll go, but he'll be back. He'll be back again and again and again.
Right.
Love the acoustic feel to it. I mean, that
Yes.
predates Rubber Soul. And I mean, you just can hear just a lot of, this just predates so much of what they would do later. And I have, kind of like There's a Place. This is just always, I've had a soft spot for this track too. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
should have, could have been a single. I love it.
It's always been a favorite of mine of
Mhm.
all their songs. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a classic. Absolutely great pick.
And doesn't that start with the chorus as well? I think that's
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's
another
very unusual structure
right.
too. Yeah. And again, just
And
shows how they were already experimenting.
they,
Right.
but they were putting. That's one of the things I love about Anthology One. I think it is.
Mhm.
Yes.
Boy, they try everything with that song,
Mhm.
making it a waltz at first. It doesn't
Yeah,
work.
that they tried that, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
But again,
No.
they just they were already this early on.
Tim Allen brought up a good point that I've thought about a little bit in the past too, is that it's so advanced for a track, it almost doesn't fit on the Hard Day's Night album. It's
Yes,
like
good
Tim
point.
says in his comment, it could have been on Rubber Soul. It's just
Yes,
well ahead of its time, as he said.
It fits great on Beatles 65, right? Matt? Right,
Mm.
Matt?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Okay, and speaking of Matt, what do you have for your second pick?
Okay. Well, quick story first. My mom takes me to the store when I'm a little kid, and I wanted the early Beatles album so bad because I wanted the song Twist and Shout, which I had heard live on the Beatles Story album as a little kid. And that live version, 50 seconds of Twist and Shout, blew me away so bad that I had to get Twist and Shout. Takes me to the store. They don't have it. No early Beatles. She said, well, you can only pick one album, so pick one. So I was all bummed out. But I ended up picking this because I thought they looked cool on the cover. So I said, I'm going to pick that one. So I picked it, not knowing hardly any of the songs on it. But one of my favorite songs on the album ended up being this very obscure, rollicking, fun, country-flavored song called I Don't Want to Spoil the Party.
Yeah.
It's on Beatles 6. It's also on Beatles for Sale. And I've always just loved this song. It's always been one of my favorites on the album. It was never a single. You never see it on a compilation. You've got John and Paul practically singing lead vocals together on it. They're harmonizing together on it throughout most of the song. George's little country flavored rockabilly guitar solo in the middle is like perfection in my mind. It's like just over 2 minutes of sheer perfection to me. It's just a great little pop track, very simple. Some people might consider it just a throwaway, but I've always loved it. And that had to be my second pick today.
Yeah.
I've always loved that one.
Love it.
Too. Nothing wrong with that.
No, that's
And
a great pick.
some of these songs don't get tired either.
Yeah.
I call it tired because it's not always Yesterday. It's not always A Hard Day's Night. Come Together. It's something you don't hear all the time.
Yeah. I love Tonight She Made Me Sad, but I still love her. Just that part is
and the way
brilliant.
they're singing it together, it just sounds beautiful.
Yeah, they're good together on it. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And actually, when I was first getting, as you were talking, telling that story, it just took me back. Because when I first started getting into the Beatles, that was one of the first songs, as I went beyond the hits, that I gravitated toward. Because there's just something about that song. It just has and it's got a little country twang to it. I mean, it's just there's just something that draws you in about that song.
Yeah,
I stand corrected. Tim says it was the B-side of 8 Days a Week, but that has slipped my mind. I just never thought of it as a song of getting much recognition.
No, it really, it doesn't really.
B-side.
Yeah,
but a lot of times I'll say, if I'm somewhere, I got to leave. I'll say, well, there's nothing for me here, so I'll
disappear.
Great lines, quotable
lines, from songs and things.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What will I pick next? I'm up. I'm gonna go with "Hold Me Tight."
Oh.
And that's a song that I often hear maligned. Again, I'm not claiming any of these are the greatest songs, but I think it's really fun pop rocker. They tried to do it for the Please Please Me album. I think they had this song in their live set early on or something, if I'm not mistaken, and they couldn't ever make it work in order to do it on their first album, so they wound up getting it on the second album with the Beatles. And I mostly just like that it's a fun song, and I like the the repeats that John and George are doing, repeating me tie tonight. And a lot of people think, and I know what they mean, that Paul's voice is like out of tune. His singing isn't
Mm,
really the best. It's kind of hard to sing some of that, I imagine. I don't want to try
yeah.
it. The you part and all of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially at the end. It almost sounds like he's crying at the end. When I was a kid, I almost was going boo hoo, almost like you hoo hoo at the end. It's but it's off kilter, and I like that about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's a little adult in a way too, because of the word, words making love, which you probably didn't get hear a lot of that in a song at
Yeah, good
that
point.
Good
at
point.
that point in time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so, and if you've ever heard, I'm sure all of you have, but if people out there have ever heard the outtakes of those sessions, there's some great alternate
Yes.
takes of "Hold Me Tight" where
Oh,
they
Paul's so frustrated.
they're jamming. It's really great.
He
Yep.
keeps getting the words wrong. I don't take 23. Is it
So
23?
hopefully when we
22?
get the With the Beatles deluxe Giles Martin set,
right,
it'll be
right.
on there. Yeah, so we'll get all those
Yes.
versions.
I
Yeah.
would. I take my money. Take my money.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
would love
want.
it.
Okay, so even if they can't do, as they claim, that much with the actual tracks, I'll just take it for the bonus stuff,
Mm,
bonus material that
Absolutely.
hopefully
yeah.
they can do.
Yeah. But no, I agree. I mean, yes, Hold Me Tight isn't so it isn't perfect. I mean, that's kind of what makes it good. I mean, it's just a great rock tune. I mean,
hmm
I could picture them playing it in concert and the audience going nuts. I mean, it's just, it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, I love those outtakes. The one that Mark mentioned, oh bloody hell, he says when
Yeah.
he's trying to sing and he keeps getting the words
Yeah.
wrong, and
Yeah.
they're up to like 20 some odd takes at that point. It's
Yeah.
not an easy song, giving them a lot of trouble
Yeah,
apparently.
really.
Right.
All right, so that's two down. Now we're up to the third one, and starting with Tom again. What do you got for number three, Tom?
Well, sometimes there's an album that's so great with so many great songs that a good song can kind of get
hmm
maybe brushed under the rug a little bit and forgotten about. And that song that album is Revolver for me, and
Ah.
that song is Dr. Robert. Again, it's a track that you just was the album with so many great songs, and then you just don't hear people talking about Dr. Robert. I think sometimes it might get buried under Got to Get You Into My Life, Good Day Sunshine, Even Tomorrow Never Knows, and so many what For No One, so many great tracks on Revolver. And then you get this really cool underrated rocker from John on there. And again, it's just a song that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and I think
hmm
there's a lot of highlights on there too. And I think it's a good rocker. I think it's good lyrics from John, but I really dig is like Paul's backing vocals, especially when there's like Dr. Robert, he's a man you must believe, helping
Oh yeah.
everyone
He's
indeed.
Yeah,
And then
Paul.
Paul's singing just a
hitting those
little
notes.
higher,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, than
Yeah.
John does. And then I love the well, you're feeling fine. He'll make you Dr. Robert, and then it's
Yeah.
back rocking out. And then again, we learn later on that there's a story behind this. So that's the
Yeah.
actual,
Right.
there was him and George and their wives, were at a dentist, and and he fed them LSD, so, and then you get that little extra bonus from that, so Dr. Robert, again, is a
Yeah.
track it's a killer rock song, and doesn't get talked about a lot because it's buried behind or underneath so many other great tracks on
Yeah.
Revolver.
Look at all the classic music on that album,
Yeah,
as
even
you said.
Yellow Submarine as well, kind of
It's
buries Dr.
Mhm.
Robert in a way,
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very
true.
true.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like Paul. I think really boosts that song with that
Right,
vocal part that he does. I
right,
really love that when he comes in.
yeah,
That's my favorite part of the song, I think. And yeah,
Yep.
when he
yeah,
do the well, you're feeling
I'm
fine bit, it
fine,
really
right.
sounds like I always think like, oh, wow,
Kind of like a little acid trip
look at the pretty
in a
colors.
way.
I'm
Yes.
really feeling. I'm feeling
That's
fine.
You got the gas on, and you're sitting in the dentist's office, and he's feeding you the
Yeah.
gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling fine.
I was
that's
gonna have Tell Me
Yeah.
Why on mine.
yeah.
Oh
Mm.
shoot, man! The one I always pick. Oh man, I, I forgot the one I always pick, but anyway.
Mm.
Oh
All right.
man,
Tell
yeah,
me why I
yeah.
think is underrated too by some
Yep.
people.
That the falsetto part and Tell Me Why is the part that kills me. I love when they hit that anything I can do.
Yeah.
That, and they only do it once in the whole song, but
Maybe
it just it
yeah. What
hits you.
is it about that? Since we're here's how I'm going to do it, folks. I'm going to sneak it in. I'm going to sneak it in. I'm going to force choice when I get home. That should have been.
Right.
That is the most underrated of all Beatles songs, and it's not on my list because
Mhm.
we're talking about
Well, we're
Hard
going
Day's
along pretty
Night.
nicely. We could
Yeah,
probably
we
do a
could.
fourth if you want to.
Yeah, we could add a fourth. We're
Okay,
going along
then
pretty
I'll.
well.
Okay, we're going out of order a little bit then. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to say that one. Just we add that for me,
Mhm.
because I don't know. I just think I don't get how people don't like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think people don't like that line. I'm going to love her till the cows come home, which
Yeah.
Right.
was an old expression. It's not something John just made up. What's that mean? It's an old, outdated expression.
It's not like
Um,
one of those English lines that you don't know. I mean, it could have been said here in the States as well, just as much as it could have been said in the in the
Well, yeah.
UK.
What's
Right.
next? Dustbin lid? I mean,
Yeah,
what are
right.
we going to talk about? You know. But I love John's
That's a
voice.
great
It's like he's
track.
so like into it. Like I have no time for trivia. It's great. Put
I agree
trivialities
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good one. And it's like those. I love those. Whoa,
Right.
I
They're
don't know.
one of their
I,
best early rockers from '64, I think.
Yeah.
it's got like the guitar's got that like jung,
Right. Right.
thing. I love that, and I
Yeah.
love Ringo's
But
whoa. Ringo's
yeah,
like whoa.
but you're
Yep.
missing the best part of the song, though. I'm sorry to say.
The middle part.
Cowbell.
More
But that
cowbell.
cowbell.
I got a
Yeah,
Cowbell.
fever. The
that
only
must be
cure
it.
is more
That
cowbell.
must be it. Okay,
That's
all
the
right.
best part.
So I snuck that in there for this time.
That's a great pick.
Kit's got to do her number 3. Kit,
Yes,
what do you got?
indeed. Third one. I've never understood why this song isn't talked about that much. From Rubber Soul, The Word. I've
Ah.
always liked this
Mhm.
one, and I think it's an important song because it really it foreshadows not only what they would do on particularly Sergeant Pepper, but I mean, it kind of foreshadows the Summer of Love in general. I mean, when
Yeah.
It does.
Good point.
yeah, I mean, when listen to the lyrics, I mean, because they're talking about, the word is love, but it's,
Oh,
a
yeah.
bigger love,
Mhm.
you
Right.
know,
It's like
and
all you need is Love Junior.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. Good point, Matt. I mean, exactly. And I love how Lennon is coming off like kind of almost a preacher in
Yeah.
this. I found the
Mm.
answer. The
Yeah.
word is
Word
love.
is good. Yeah, love.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
It could have been a later song, a little later,
yeah.
like you said.
And to think that this is 65.
Right.
And
This
Paul,
Yep.
can I mention Paul? If I took this from you, kid, I apologize. But Paul's bass,
yes,
it's so funky. He's got a
It
groove
is.
to it in that song that's way ahead of its time.
Paul's
Yeah.
bass is great. I love Ringo's drums on this. I really just think, and again, I know I keep saying the harmonies, but what can I say? I mean, the harmonies are wonderful on this too. I just think, thematically, and musically, as you said, Paul's bass, it's just a really solid song, and to think that it predated the Summer of Love 2 years. So again, ahead
Yeah,
of their time. And so,
exactly.
if you want to hear what they would, and a preview of what they would do on Sergeant Pepper,
Right.
the word. So
It's got
I'm
all that
just
kind of
amazed this isn't
psychedelic
talked
feeling.
about more.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
like
good.
when I
Great
used to
song.
with my
Mhm.
ex-wife. We used to be in the car, and anytime that was her favorite Beatle album. And whenever that would come on, she'd always start doing these kind of things. I don't know, like 60s kind of thing to it, like you know,
Yeah.
67ish kind of stuff. So
But
I
that's
but
love.
my favorite.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but again, this is what it's about, and really again a sign that the Beatles wanted to write
Yeah.
things beyond She Loves You and romantic
Right.
love and all. I mean, and of course, um, There's a Place was an early sign of that as well, but they were really going in that direction with
Right.
the word.
And
Yeah.
what you were saying when he's actually talking like a preacher. I mean, you listen to that last verse. Now that I know what I feel must be right, I'm here to show everybody the
Right,
Like
light.
the
light,
light.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
really.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
Good, great points there.
Yeah, that's really good points. I've always thought that too. Yeah, it sounds like a '67, ahead of its time kind of
Yep.
thing. Lyrically,
Mhm.
Okay, Matt, what do you got for number 3?
Well, you all may be wondering, how in the heck did Matt have a cowbell for that pick that he had no idea about? All right, so I'm bringing it out again. The reason I have my little cowbell here is because I have it for this one, my next pick, and it's from, in U.S. for us old fans,
Oh man, that's a
it's
great
on the
song.
Beatles' second album. I Call Your Name.
Yes.
It's
I was
got
thinking of
that.
another song, but that's great
It's
too.
well, it's got that similar beat to You Can't Do That. They
Yeah.
both. I think You Can't Do That has cowbell in it too, as a matter of
that's
fact.
what I think so. That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
So it has that beat of You Can't Do That, but it's always been one of those songs that kind of doesn't get the attention that You Can't Do That gets. It's just got that Motownish vibe to it. It's rocking. It's got the great guitar solo, which I think, did John play the guitar solo in I Call Your Name? I'm not sure. I could be off.
I don't know about that. I
thought-
know You Can't Do
all right.
That. He did.
Yeah, You Can't Do That. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I just love the tempo change in the middle where it changes tempo. That middle 8 section of that. Yeah. I just feel it's an underrated song. I know Billy J. Kramer covered it with the Dakotas. They did a nice little version of it, but I'm sorry, it doesn't hold a candle to John in the Beatles version. And I think I remember getting it also on remember the Rock and Roll Music album from '70.
It was on the Rock and Roll.
It was also on there, and that was
Yeah.
like it was like I just felt it was one of the best early songs they could have picked for that album. So yeah, that's my third pick.
The middle part that you said when it changes over in flavor or whatnot, I think when John talked to Dennis Elsons, I think he called it ska. They were trying to do ska.
Is that,
I can
go
talk
ahead.
about
Yeah.
that. I did a presentation on it.
Oh, right. Okay.
So sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I did a presentation on it. It was their attempt at an actually even earlier form of ska called blue beat.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
opening riff is kind of bluesy in a way.
Yeah, it's a form called Blue Beat, and it was a label. It was named after a label that was really in the UK, and it was because there was a big Jamaican immigration wave in the UK, and this form of music, the very early form of ska was big there, and so that this label would export these records to the UK, and they were really big there. And so a lot of other people too, like the Beatles, got into these records. My Boy Lollipop was the biggest of this blue beat that made it here.
Yeah.
Yep. So this was the Beatles' attempt at imitating blue beat. That's why it changes tempo in the middle, and they would do it again in the long version of "You Know My Name, Look Up the Number." For some reason, they later on cut that.
Cut it out.
Yeah, John, I think, asked them to cut that part out, but they would do it again later. So anyway, so sorry, just wanted to.
Very informative. I think John mentioned blue beat during that. He said first it was blue beat, then it was ska.
Yeah, then it became ska.
We're going by the interview, what I remember.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
Okay.
I mean, for that time period to do something like that with that tempo change, it's just
that was
very advanced.
I like the fade out too. Yeah, I like the I call your name. Is it the song ends and he's just repeating I call your name, and you get a couple woos in between.
Yeah.
Get a woo out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff.
All right. I'm going to go for number 3 here. It's a Rubber Soul song. Anybody want to guess what it is? I don't know how many times I got to defend this song, especially these days. It is "Run for Your Life." People these days, everybody is so hypersensitive. They can't even listen to it anymore. It's getting to the point where that should they even play it? I was wondering sometimes if they were even going to play it anymore on Sirius XM. Then one day I heard it, the Beatles channel.
Right.
I was like thinking, were they going to play that on there? And I heard it one day because they repeat so many songs. I've heard everything a million times when I used to have a Beatles channel, but I never heard that. And then one day I did. I'm like, oh, phew. Only because it's got lyrics in there about hunting down. If you
Right.
go to another man and cheat on me, I'll hunt you down and I'll leave you dead and all this kind of stuff. You know, I don't know. It's a character. I don't think John was going to or ever would go out and do somebody in. He was flirting with this. With you can't do that. Leave you flat. You can't do that if you
Right.
talk to the other boy and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But as we know, at the beginning, I'd rather see you dead, little girl, to be with another man. Came from Elvis's song that he
Baby,
did.
was it
Baby,
Baby Let's Play House? Yeah.
There might still be people who don't know that, but he took that line, and I
Right.
wonder if he made the song around that.
Right.
Of course, John never liked the song himself.
Yeah.
Whenever right, he'd always name that as probably the worst song he felt that he did. That and also It's Only Love. He
Yeah,
always
it's a
named,
shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
good point about
nice.
you can't do that too because you got that. I got something to say that might cause you pain. If I catch you talking to that boy again. I mean, what kind of what are we talking? Like a beating or death or
No, this kind of pain.
yeah, or a heart pain.
I'm going to leave you flat.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you
Emotional
flat.
pain.
Yeah.
Farrell McNulty said, "I call your name. You can't do that. Run for your life would make a great John is pissed trilogy."
Where was that? Who said that?
That Farrell McNulty. It's in the comments. I
a
just
little up
scrolled back.
above,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
little up. Yeah. I thought- there. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
John is
Well,
pissed
anyway,
trilogy.
I love I like the guitar playing, and even if it you could say that it's kind of maybe a little out of tune, off beat. I don't think but I like it. Sometimes I like that a little imperfection.
Yeah.
Same way I liked "Hold Me Tight," vocally.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a great simple rock song. When you look, if you take away the lyrical content of it, it's a
Right.
great little simple rock song. And as a kid, I remember the lyrics kind of went over my head a little bit. I just thought it was a
Mine
cool
too.
Beatles rock track on
Yeah, I
Rubber
never
Soul.
gave
Yeah.
it much
That
thought
would
at
have
all.
Wait and Run for Your Life are like the two cool rock tracks on the U.S. Rubber Soul, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
yeah, it's I mean, as a woman, I mean, yes, it's a little, lyrics are a little cringy, but I understand that they were based from, as we talked about the Elvis track and I mean, but as you said, I understand that, it was a character and I mean, I don't get that worked up over it.
How about
I
the line,
really
"Little
don't.
girl"?
Yeah. I
Even
mean,
though
And the time, 1965, people
Yeah.
think in the same vein that we think in 2021.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I enjoy it as a good rock song and yeah, lyrics, aren't wonderful for
Right.
sure.
Not the
But
best lyrics, but we don't take it too serious.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
55, 56 years old.
Exactly.
yeah, that's. I mean, I don't take it too serious, but
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
it's different though than I love you, I want to hold your hand kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's I like it for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh well, I had gone into the fourth song for me. I kind of talked about
Mhm.
When I Get Home, and we got a little time.
Mhm.
Do you all have a
Yeah, I've got a
follow-up?
fourth.
Sure.
Yeah.
All
Sure
right,
do.
so Tom, what do you got then for number 4?
Well, I got a track that was discarded, and I think this one kind of gets thrown away just because George Martin dismissed it during the Sgt. Pepper sessions, and that's Only a Northern Song.
Oh yeah,
Again,
that's a
yeah,
favorite of mine.
yeah,
From
again,
Yellow Sub. Yeah.
right, yeah, Levels Yellow Submarine. I mean, I think people who watch the film, with their kids and whatnot, or if they're just a fan of the film, can probably appreciate that. But I think like the casual, Beatle fan might not know this one as well as the Hey Judes and the Let It Be's out there. But but this one is good. I mean, I don't see the problem with this one. I think this would have fit Sgt. Pepper very well, in my opinion. Maybe more so than Within You Without You. But I understand. I think Within You Without You does fit Sgt. Pepper as well. but again, I kind of like, this is kind of like his like nonsensical kind of song as well, maybe in a way, taking these cue from John, and him doing that kind of thing. But this one I dig too, and I like which is the kind of like an organ that starts off the song as well. I think is really cool in this, and and then you get the crazy horns, I think, in this one too a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter what clothes I wear, how I fare, if my hair is brown, just stuff like that. I think is just really cool. But there's a lot of going on in this one as well, and definitely think people should.
Well, isn't it also a comment on their publishing?
Yeah, only the Northern Song. Yeah, the publishing.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't care for it as much. I got to really like it later and later in years. I started to really appreciate it. I could see why maybe some people wouldn't care for it, but
it fits great in the movie. I mean, watching the movie from childhood even up to adulthood, I've always felt that song and the imagery just fits so perfectly in the Yellow Submarine movie.
Yep.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 Johns and 2 Georges.
All right.
Okay, so Kit, what do you got for fourth?
All right. I think this is from, and by the way, this is, I think, an also underrated album, Beatles for Sale. I think it was, maligned for a lot of years, and I think over time, I think it's gained more appreciation over time. But No Reply. I've always liked No Reply. I love that it was actually inspired by the Rays single Silhouettes. So Silhouettes on the Shade. But this time, John said in interviews that, he gets, unlike that song where, of course, it's a happy ending where it turns out he's at the wrong house. Not this time. It's kind of another pissed off John song, come to think of it. But it's just, I love the drama in the song, with Ringo's drums, I nearly died, and you hear the crash of the cymbals. I mean, I love that. The again, like the acoustic feel of it, again, foreshadowing Rubber Soul. You have John's really dramatic performance. I mean, as he tells the story, I mean, you're hanging on his every word of telling this story, and it's just and again, I know harmonies, but it's true. I mean, what can I tell you? Great chord changes and the interesting middle eight where they change the tempo a bit. I mean, this is a song that takes a lot of twists and turns, which has always been intriguing to me. And so, yet another example of the Beatles trying to, stretch the boundaries of a traditional pop song.
And that whole, if you're going to leave me part, no one's going to love you. Like, if I was you, I'd realize that I would love you more than any other guy. It's just, again, that kind of thing. When you're young, you think about if you lose a girlfriend or whatnot, no one's going to love you more than me.
Yeah, exactly. And I should add that at the end of the song, and the Beatles did this with other tracks too, they kind of leave you hanging with the story. I mean, so he comes and basically says, "You're busted," and what happens? Well, no reply.
Right.
We don't know what happens. Whereas with Silhouettes, we know, he made a mistake. Everything's fine. But so really great songwriting, great arrangement. Love it.
Yeah.
Look, folks, this absurd comment is up here way too long. I didn't want it up here that long, but the reason I put it up here is because Woodland Goblin, if you know from my live streams, is like the biggest Paul defender and the biggest Paul fan. And I'm now, Woodland Goblin, you have this permanently on this video, so everybody can see that you believe that this is not the real Paul McCartney. You think it's Fall. And
shame.
And you said this more than once, so I don't think you're playing games. I think you really believe that Paul died and this is an imposter. So that's what I think. So you're exposed, and there you go. It's there for good. So
there you go.
People making jokes on.
And
All right,
I
so
like that. I just want to say I like that no reply pick because along with I'll Be Back, I recommend anyone out there who doesn't have Beatles 65 US album, go
Oh,
get it. Great
how much
album.
superior.
All those tracks are on there.
Mhm.
And she's a woman, and I feel fine throwing in there
Yes.
for good measure.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of great little album.
Okay, so Matt, what do you got for a fourth?
Oh, okay. My fourth. Let's see. I think, well, back in 1965, it was late 65. My parents took me to the theater to see Help, and it made a big impression on me. I was only like 4.5 years old at the time, but they said I was mesmerized by it and I loved it. And one of my favorite scenes in that movie has always been I've been drawn to the scene where the Fab Four are running and jumping around on the beaches there of the Bahamas to Another Girl. That song and those images with the cool camera angles and the Beatles are on the beach doing cool stuff and jumping around with the girls and they're in the ancient ruins. And it's one of those songs that I don't think it gets the credit it deserves. Paul's only played it live, I think, on one little short tour. He played Another Girl sometime in the last 10 years or so. I just don't think it gets the respect it deserves. You know, everyone, when you think of Help, you think of Help, Ticket to Ride, you know, the big hits. But Another Girl, I think, is a outstanding track. I think it's an excellent song. Great melody, great licks played by Paul McCartney doing lead guitar. I must say that. It's just a fun, upbeat 60s. I want to even call you, everyone knows my channel knows I'm a big fan of power pop from the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
Well, this to me is perfection of 60s power pop. They're kind of like one of the foundation songs of what power pop became later. I think Another Girl fits that. And I just think it's an outstanding song. And I wish it would get more plays on the radio, on Beatles channel, because I think it's fabulous.
I love it. I love it. Good pick.
Good call.
You know, again, it's almost like those John songs in a way too. You know, especially that first verse. You know, I mean, and of course, for I've got another girl who'll love me till the end. You know, through thick and thin, she'll always be friend. You know, I don't want to say that I was unhappy with you. You know, stuff like that. I mean, kind of, you can see how maybe took a little from those past John songs and maybe put it in a song of his own, but not so offensive. Or straight to the point, maybe going around the corner a little bit on that. But I mean, I think that was a Jane song as well, kind of like You Won't See Me, as
right.
But
I remember thinking that when Paul wound up divorcing with Heather and getting together with Nancy and such, I remember thinking, oh, he should do Another Girl. He should make a point of it. He should open with another. He should open the show with it.
Ouch! Ouch!
And that did wind up happening, but I don't know if he was making a point or anything.
Yeah, he only played it a few times on one tour, I think. But great track.
Yeah, that's a good call. I've always liked it. I think it could have been a single. Great song.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun, and I'm sure there's others. Somebody mentioned "Ask Me Why." That's one of mine that I think is underrated.
Yeah, Ask Me Why. A Lovely Rita, I want to mention from Sgt. Pepper. Lovely Rita, one of my favorites.
Yeah. And one of my runner-ups was "I'll Get You."
Forget it. I'll Get You is one of my top 10. I think.
Yeah. And also the version on Anthology. I like that live version too. It almost has a little bit of an unplugged feel, and I like that one too. Many.
Yeah, long probably would have been my fifth.
That's a nice one.
There's a lot of just here. You want to see songs that are lesser known that are good?
Yeah, there you go.
We were singing guided tours with the Beatles' lesser known tracks.
Kit, how can we get that book, Kit?
You can get that on Amazon.
It is on Amazon. Okay.
Yep, that's right on Amazon. I want to give a shout out to Duke Viking. He's been mentioning throughout this chat, saying you can find more information on that song on page blah blah of my book. So
do you know?
I saw that.
Do you know who that is, Kit?
I don't.
That's my cousin David.
No.
Yes, my original co-host from Two Legs.
Oh my God,
Duke
David.
Viking.
Yeah, Duke Viking is my cousin David.
Cool.
Oh my God, David.
By the way, Tim
friend.
Allen, I'm a huge fan of Don't Bother Me. Huge.
Me too. Count me in on that.
The thing is, in recent times, I didn't mention it because in recent times I've heard a lot of love for it lately. So I don't know.
That
Yeah.
is a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
that has gotten some mixed comments lately. I don't know why.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up, folks. I want to say that next week, next Sunday, hopefully, which will be the 28th. I hope we're going to do a Fab Gab. Keep this in mind about the Get Back docu-series. After we see it, we'll have seen it, and I'm going to be here with Matthew Street and other people who may join us. And I'm going to ask around, see who wants to join us for that particular show. And that's my biggest thing coming up. And let's go
Yeah,
around.
it'll be great to hear people's emotional reactions.
Yeah.
Only a day after it ends, like I just look to the visceral feelings, what people are thinking and feeling after they see it.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Get out the tissues.
Tissues, and I was going to say get out the cowbell, but that's not appropriate.
So
hey, you can hit that cowboy at 3 a.m. when that airs all you want, buddy.
What's everybody else up to? Kit, let's start with you.
Okay, well, if you live in the Chicago area, and our friend Rocky is mentioning it in the comments here, because he's going to be there too. I'm going to be appearing Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, at Blue Village Vinyl, which is in Westmont, Illinois. I'm going to be signing copies of that very book that, that Joe was holding up.
Nice.
My first book signing in 2 years. With all the craziness we've been living through. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to be signing copies of that, so head on over to Blue Village Vinyl. They're having there's going to be live music, and they're having sales, and so I'll be there, and you get a free tote with every purchase. So check it out. There you go. Yep, I wrote about Don't Bother Me. And many songs that we've talked about today. Right. So you can head on there. Let's see. Oh, and I was on a podcast recently about Squeeze. Called Cool for Cats. Yes, I do talk about music other than the Beatles. And so so if you're a Squeeze fan, go check it out. It's Cool for Cats. You can find it on virtually any podcasting platform you can think of. I talked about the album, the compilation album, Singles 45s and Under. Had a great time doing that. We're going
Are you a big Squeeze fan? Are you like really
I'm
into
not
them?
like hardcore,
Right.
but I like all their bigger hits, and I got hooked on them from that album and from the song Hourglass. I just and I saw them live it was at least 10 years ago, probably. No, it was like in 2007 or something, where
I saw that tour. Yeah, it was
Amy Mann
Squeeze.
opened for them.
Oh, okay. I saw them. They opened for Cheap Trick, Squeeze and Cheap Trick. But it was the same year. It was 2007.
Yep. And awesome. So
yeah, great.
Hi, Greg.
Yep. Bye, Greg. So I've had a great time talking about that. So check that out. Of course, we're going to be doing Talk More Talk tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern on our Facebook channel.
I forgot. I got to think of my questions.
Better be there, Joe. We're going to be playing the game Rack Our Brains, where we're going to be talking about, we're going to be asking each other rapid fire questions, all opinion based. Not trivia.
Oh, there's no right or wrong answers. Just
no right or wrong answers. Yep, no right or wrong answers. So if you guys, if you join us live, you can also ask us questions in the comments. We'll get to as many as we can, and we will be announcing soon what we'll be doing around Get Back. We're still trying to figure out timing and all that stuff. So we will let you know as soon as we can. So I think that's it.
All right, Tom, what's going on?
Well, busy as always. Yesterday we just dropped our latest episode on Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, the YouTube channel, and all of our audio outlets. You can check that out. It's Orange Schubert. We brought him back to the show, and we talked about his memories of the '79 UK tour. So that was a lot of fun getting his thoughts, his memories on that short-lived UK tour. And so we learned a few things. One of the things we learned was that Japan tour was booked at the same time as the UK tour was booked. So there were a few things like that we learned, and just a great time. We just did an episode earlier today with a great young woman who's got a show called She Loves You. Her name is Natalia Cardenas, and we did part 2 of our show called Women and Wives, which we just talk about all the women in Paul McCartney's life. So this is part 2, and then the final episode in that series. And that'll drop this coming Saturday. And and Talk More Talk. I can't wait to get some of these Spitfire questions. It's gonna be a good
I gotta
time.
think of some.
Yeah.
So what are we doing again? Remind me of how many? Well, unless you want to tell me.
Opinionated question. Yeah, 3. Well, what we doing? 3 or 5 questions?
I think we're doing 3.
3 questions. Yeah.
And everybody's going to answer. The other 3 are going to answer.
Yeah. We have to. Yeah, exactly. And thank you, Kevin, for watching that LJ interview. Appreciate it.
I don't know if I'll be able to go live tonight. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. It depends on a few things. So, Matt, it's your turn. What's going on?
I don't have anything that cool, but
well, I know how you feel, because this happens almost all the time when we do Talk More Talk. We spend 25 minutes from Kit, 25 minutes on Tom, and Ken, and then I have nothing.
I can come up with a couple of things. I just finished a really fun interview with Stephen Schnee on the Matt and Steve show. Matt and Steve show. Matt and Steve show. The Mattins. Oh my goodness. Gosh, I don't want to say any swears. We don't do that on the Matthew Street channel. No foul language. Okay. The Matt and Steve show just did a fabulous interview with the Gripweeds, Kristen Pennell Ryle and Kurt Ryle, who's a great producer, and he's produced the Smithereens and Mark Lindsay from Paul Revere. And the Gripweeds have been around about 20 years, and they've got fabulous albums. They just put out a brand new covers album of 60s nuggets. The Monkees are on there. There's Beatles. There's really obscure stuff like Mouse and the Traps, and really cool stuff on this album. And we did an interview. We posted it about a week ago. So if you want to go check that out, check out our interview with the Gripweeds. And that's about it. I think after Thanksgiving, I'm going to be blown away next week when this Beatles Get Back film. That's going to be my focus this week. I'm hoping to do a couple of personal videos on my channel, just my own personal take on it and whatnot. And then right after that's over, I'm going to probably post my Christmas greetings video to say hello, everybody, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. So look forward to that video.
That's about it. Thanks very much, Ann. Just happy to fun. Okay, well, thanks everybody for being here. We'll do it again real soon. And everybody, I hope you can all see when Get Back comes on, find a way to do it. I finally got my Roku set up. It wasn't easy. Right? Tom knows that. I called him. Hey, we got this thing good. we had to work together.
I had to calm the bull down. I mean, he was.
I don't understand. Yeah. And they wanted more money. I don't know. They wanted me to sign up and give me my name, rank, and serial number and all this information. And hey, look, I was told if you buy a Roku, you plug it in the HDMI in the back, you got it. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what the girl told me at. From Disney Plus. Then I get it. It's like they want, you got to put all this information, and you got to give you personal business, and maybe, I don't know if they're going to charge me more. Is that only if you order?
Only if you order more apps. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are apps that you have to pay for. So if your card is on file, and let's say if you want Netflix, then you do that, and then
Yep.
And then you sign up for it. You follow the instructions, and then it's paid for because your card's on file.
Yep.
All right. So
it's like Amazon in a way.
Yeah.
I'm going to get going, folks. So thank you all for being here. Thank you also. I appreciate all of you, Matthew, Kit,
and thanks to Tom and Kit.
Yeah.
You make the show shine.
Thank you, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving. If I don't talk to you all, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
For sure. All right, everybody. See you soon.
Meat is murder.
Bye.
Well, I didn't say that yet. I'll eat your piece.